Jake Peavy. And Dave Whitfield. Thank you all for joining us here today. Peter was a student of the game and its history, forming tight friendships with both of our next two speakers. The wife of Mr. Padre, Alicia Glenn. Joining her on the stage is National Baseball Hall of Famer Trevor Hoffman.
As I walked in this ballpark today, I could see the mark that Peter Siedler left, and I can feel his presence. Although he is absent of the body, his spirit still remains. Peter was such a wonderful man. To Shield and the Siedler family, thank you for sharing such an amazing man that truly was my friend. When I first met Peter, I sat down and talked with him. He told me, you know, everybody can't handle your forwardness. I said, I know, that's why I'm talking to you. He changed the culture of this Padre organization because of the man that he was. And if you listen to all the speeches today, there was so much commonality. And I call it the Peter Siedler culture. He walked around this ballpark interacting with all the fans, no matter who you were. He cared about the fans. He never wavered throughout the whole Padres season behind the team, where through all the highs and lows, he kept the faith. One of the things that excited Peter the most was when the fans chanted, "Let's go Padres." Let's keep the Peter Siedler culture by going on to carry on what he started. Let's go Padres.
I'd like to start by honestly saying thank you to the front office. And you might be wondering why, but a group of guys decided at the very beginning that they wanted to grow some mustaches in honor of Peter. And I got to tell you what an amazing honor that was. As you can see in the picture up here, he's a maverick. Nobody can pull it off like Peter. And I guess the great things about that is I was walking around town the last couple months and people will go, "Hey, Hoppy, nice mustache." And it gave me an opportunity to explain exactly why the mustache was coming in. It was to honor our good friend Peter and get the opportunity to explain all the great things that you've already heard today to everybody else. In the mornings I'd get up and I'd see that mustache. It would give me inspiration to be a little bit more like Peter, to be kinder, to be gentler, to love. All from a mustache. You know, there's a little bit of a phrase called, "Don't mistake kindness for weakness." And as you heard a few things today, Peter exemplified that amongst a lot of owners out there. He had a way of deciding how he was going to run his ball club and the things that he wanted to do and the winning he was going to bring here to Petco. And he coughed at the other idea of other owners thinking he was doing wrong. Don't mistake kindness for weakness. Giving to the homeless, those less fortunate, rubbing elbows with everybody, going and seeing it firsthand, being a part of it. The Lucky Duck Foundation being so instrumental to him. All the great words that we heard. He didn't mistake kindness for weakness, always looking to give back. You know, Peter comes from a tremendous legacy. I've had an opportunity over the last few months again to hear a lot of people talk about his grandfather, his uncle, and the things that they chose to do and how they ran a ball club. Well, we were very fortunate down here in San Diego that Peter learned a lot of those things and instilled those things here in San Diego. about giving up the things that he wanted to do here, the loyalty, the love that you see from the fan base, you see from front office, you see in our players. Todd talked to me a little bit this morning about an interaction he had with somebody from the ground crew at 7 o'clock in the morning when he was down here, and he couldn't help but hear the amazing things that he and Peter were able to talk about and the connection they had. Peter comes from an amazing family. Sheila and the kids, amazing love that you guys display on a day-to-day basis. It's truly inspirational. I had a good time talking to my brother about Terry and the opportunities that they had with the Dodge organization. It doesn't strike me that things didn't fall far from the tree. You guys are an amazing group and you're a tremendous inspiration for all of us. I found out Peter had a tendency for having shoes maybe a little bit bigger than normal. And someone told me that Peter said, you know, it's easy in, easy out. And I know that he's got a front row seat right now waiting for this season to get started. And it's going to be an amazing run. Last, I'll leave with this. You know, his kids came up with a heart with PS in the middle of it. We love big. Don't forget that.
Thank you, Alicia and Andrew. Next up, let's welcome two people who Peter had a close working relationship with. Padres President and GM of Baseball Operations, A.J. Preller, and Padres Manager, Mike Siedler.
It's an honor and privilege to talk about Peter Siedler today. The first time I met Peter was about 10 years ago. I was interviewing for the general manager position here with the San Diego Padres. One thing I knew about baseball and about business is that it all starts with ownership. If you're going to be successful, the culture, methodology, you need to have a strong ownership group. I was coming from a good situation in my past life, with a good team and good people that we worked with, and we did some winning. So I wasn't looking just to take any opportunity, an opportunity that was truly special. And in the 1-month process that I went through from an interview standpoint, meeting both Ron Fowler and Peter Siedler at the time, even though they had very different personalities, I could tell that they shared two things in common. They cared very deeply about people, and they were all about winning and bringing a championship here to San Diego. And because of that, when they offered the opportunity, I was lucky enough to get that opportunity. I jumped at the chance. From Peter's standpoint, our first conversation, I remember pretty clearly, we talked about the San Francisco 49ers, where they stood before Bill Walsh and Joe Montana, the New England Patriots before Bob Kraft, Bill Belichick, and of course Tom Brady, and the Golden State Warriors before Stephen Curry. We talked about the perception of the Padres, and more so the haves and have-nots in baseball and being small market teams, and to dream big. And Peter talked about playing on the big stage, which is the World Series. Peter talked all the time about being best in class, and from a motivational standpoint, the art of the possible. Most importantly, like any great leader, Peter was genuine, unique, and authentic. He wanted to do things differently. At a time in baseball where a lot of clubs are risk adverse, there's a lot of talk about winning on the margins, or honestly just being on the margin. There's a lot of talk about efficiency per dollar spent. Peter had a different vision, and we connected because of that. He openly talked about getting people with ability and then having stability. I think due to his family's ownership with another ball club and seeing that firsthand, and him talking to me a lot about what he did with his own business with Siedler Equities. He wanted it to be a situation for the fans of San Diego. You do when you come to a game, you were going to see excellence. And even though there may be a down moment for a month or for a few weeks, when you have players like Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis and Java Joe, the artistry of Yu Darvish, going to the Chrome Zone with Jake Cronenworth and Xander Bogaerts, over the course of time, it was going to lead to excellence and great play. I love my daily conversations with Peter. I had the ability, and I was lucky enough to be able to get on the phone with him and talk to him about baseball and life. Every couple of weeks, we got to sit down in person. We'd have a working agreement to sit down and talk about the team with a State of the Union type address. He loved to ask about our farm system, our players, our big league team. It's a big mind bringing in our group's brain about what we saw. He especially loved to talk about the future and to hear about players like Ethan Salas or guys down the road like Hiroki Sasaki. He got really jazzed up thinking about the pursuit of other excellent players to add to the Padre family. I can honestly say every time I left that office in those meetings, I would go down the hallway to our assistant GM, Josh Stein, who was in those meetings at times, and I would say to him when we would talk together, we have to win for that man. That's what great leaders do. They motivate you,